welcome to this week's video, which is, as you can tell by the title of the video, my labour slash delivery of bub story time. So I have my phone with my notes on it. I have notes because I don't remember some of it, and I got little dot points from my partner and my mum about what I was doing in certain things when I couldn't remember what I was doing because I was on the gas and I had the epidural, so I had I was pretty out of it. So I have my notes, but I'm going to be going more into detail in this video. Bub is currently asleep in the bedroom, in the porta cot, and my partner's away at work, so I have this time to myself to do this, and then I gotta clean up and then it makes it. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy the video. Give it a big big thumbs up, and comment what you want to see in my next video. I do have 2 videos planned for next week and the week after, and then the week after that I'm pretty sure it's Christmas week, so I'll be doing like a Christmassy vlog, day in the life thing sort of video. My partner should be back by then too, so it'll be a lot easier on me. I'm able to film what I want to film. So alright, so I'm going to get into it. I'm going to stick my notes up there so I don't have to keep looking down. I'm going to put them there. Oh, that's even better, because I'm looking right at shoes. Anyway, so from about 30 weeks on, my pregnancy was really tough. Like, the start of my pregnancy was stressful and stuff because of other reasons, not the pregnancy itself, but 30 weeks onwards was so physically tough on me. And I was in hospital nearly every second day. So at about 36 weeks, I had my checkup with the doctor, and I was told that I was 1 centimeter dilated, and all the Braxton Hicks and everything that I was getting was all early labor. I go into more about it later, but I had a back-to-back baby, so all of my pain was in my back. I did have some front pain, but 90% of my pain was in my back and my tailbone area, which freaking sucked. At about 36 weeks, I started having a bit of blood and quite a bit of mucus, which the blood, the doctor said, could have been from the stretch and sweep I had, which, by the way, hurt. And the mucus they didn't really care about because the doctor really told me that you could lose your mucus plug at any point in your pregnancy. Does not mean you're going to go into labour soon. I lost my mucus plug at 35 weeks, I'm pretty sure. 35, 36, as I said. And I didn't go into labour. So for you mums who are pregnant, no, losing your mucus plug doesn't mean you're going into labour. But all of that, and I still, even the stretch and sweep, and I still didn't go past 1 centimeter for a long time. At 37 weeks, I started noticing that his movements were dying down a lot, and I couldn't feel him kick or anything. So I went in, and they told me that he was a bit chunky. My little chunky man. He was The weight at 37 weeks, he was the weight of a 40-week baby. And they were telling me things like, oh, you're gonna have a 10-pound baby and your baby's gonna be super big and he's gonna be really chunky and all this. And so I also was told that my placenta, pretty sure that's what it is, yeah, my placenta was in front of him. That's why I could not feel him moving as much. Like, I couldn't feel him moving, and they couldn't really see him move. They couldn't feel, like, the doctors couldn't feel him moving really. And that and they also told me I had to be extremely careful because, you know, he was the size of a 40-week baby, so I could have had him at any time. Anyway, skip a few weeks, skip 2 weeks ahead. I'm at 39 weeks and 4 days. Yeah. I noticed that I had only felt him move one to 3 times. Like, I had little movements, but yeah, so it was 1 to 3 times within the space of 12 hours. So I was concerned. I went up to the hospital and I was like, look, I haven't felt him move. I felt him move once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times today, and that's it. And they said they put the little Bubby's heart monitor on him. I'm pretty sure it's a CTG. I'm not too sure. Anyway, they did that, and he wasn't moving. They did an ultrasound and he wasn't moving. So they, at midnight, told me that I was going to be induced right then and there. I was like, right then, okay. So we went from the, trying to remember what it's called, the ward we were in, to the labour and delivery ward, because that's where they have to put the Cook's catheter, which is what I had in. The Cook's catheter is 2 little balloons on little tubes, very teeny tiny tubes, and then those 2 tubes connect to a somewhat bigger tube. I'll insert a picture around here somewhere. And I fill that up with about 80 mils of water on each side, so it's 80 mils on your left side, 80 mils on the right side, and those balloons separate the sac, the sac that the baby's in, and your uterus walls, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Anyway, so it separates that, and sometimes it does pop, sometimes it does break your water, sometimes it doesn't. Unfortunately, I was the doesn't. Get more to that later. Anyway, so they put that in about 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday, and about an hour or so after, I had to get them to take at least 10 mils of water out of each side because I was just in excruciating pain. I couldn't walk, I couldn't sit, I couldn't do anything because every position I got into, it was aching something bad. And so I should probably refer to my notes because yeah. That's what I'm up to. At about 6:30 that same morning, I woke up from the worst sleep I'd had. That was before having kids, or before having a kid. The worst sleep I'd had. I had another 10 mils taken out because I was experiencing the same pain that I was. At the like when they had to take out the first 20 mils, 10 from each side again. I had that in until about 3. And then at 3, whew, that's when the fun started. So at 3 o'clock, they transitioned me over to the delivery ward, or the birthing suite, the labour unit, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And at 3:30 they took the catheter out, they took the cook's catheter out, and they broke my waters. By the way, it is so weird. Like, my first child, and they had to break my waters, so I don't know if it's the same as when your waters break naturally, but everyone's like, oh, you might feel like it's like peeing and stuff. It's not. It feels like there's a hose in your vagina and someone's playing with the tap. They're like on and off, and then on, and then on, and then off. Well, that's what it felt like to me. Because my waters would thing, and then stop for a split second or two, and then it would go again, and then it would stop, and then it would go again. It was so weird. And I ruined my socks. I was so sad about that. And even asked my partner. I was like, no, my socks, because I was still wearing my socks at the time. I made the bed all wet. I made the floor wet. It was so, yeah. Your waters breaking is not a very moment like it is in the movies and stuff, and it's really messy, especially when they break your waters for you. Anyway, but yeah, after my waters broke, they put me on the gas because my contractions got really intense really quick. Like, it went from like a 2 or 3 to like 7, 8, 9. So I don't really remember much from here on out because they did have me on the gas. And when you're on the gas, I don't know if it's everywhere, but here in Australia, when you're on the gas, you're not actually supposed to breathe in the gas if you're not having a contraction. You're only supposed to breathe in the gas if you're having a contraction. Sorry, Jackson woke up for a bit. Had to put a dummy back in his mouth. Anyway, so yeah, and here in Australia, when you are breathing in the gas, you're not actually supposed to breathe it in when you're not having a contraction. The thing is, when I was breathing it in, when they told me to stop, every time I'd stop, I'd get a contraction. So it was kind of like, well, if I stop, I'm gonna have a contraction, so I might as well just keep breathing. And then I'm pretty sure I was on the gas for about an hour or 2 before they brought in the epidural machine. Well, the epidural doctor. I don't know what they call him. Anyway, so now from here on, as I said, I don't really remember. So I do have some dot points that I got from my mum and my partner that I will be reading through. So I remember going for a shower, and because Bubby was back to back, my pain was all on my back, so when I was standing up, all the pain was just right on my tailbone, and it was I was bawling my eyes out, and showers didn't help. Hot water on my back only made it worse. It felt like someone just continued punching me in the tailbone, where I was already extremely freaking sore. I had 3 really intense contractions while I was in the shower, and I was only in the shower for like friggin' 6 minutes. After I got out of the shower, I put the little dressing thing back on, and I leaned on a ball. I don't know what it was. The ball, leaning on the ball, laying in bed, sitting on something, they all just extremely hurt. I get this laying down and sitting down because it's like pressure on the tailbone, but I was like putting pressure on my front when I was leaning on the freaking ball, and that was intense. I was like almost laying on the floor in tears because of how intense these contractions and back pains were. when I got the gas, as I said, I continued to take it. I was just taking it. I did obviously stop at some points because, you know, otherwise I would have passed out, which I almost did a few times. But I remember vaguely sitting in a chair, in like one of those little like lawn chairs, the white lawn chairs, because I don't know why, it felt really comfortable to sit in that. And I was just breathing in the gas and everything was just like flowy, and I was like, And I remember my mum asking me if I was stoned, and I was like, no, or something like that. I remember saying no to her, or shaking my head at her. I remember saying no, or indicating no. I also remember that my partner was right next to me, and this chair had arms, but I remember the very clear fact that if he hadn't moved, I would have fallen out of the chair, because I was like leaning up against him, and I was like breathing into gas, and it was just, I would say it was awesome. So when they came in to do the epidural, so you have to sit a certain way and you're not allowed to move. They also tell you to tell them when you're getting a contraction so they can stop what they're doing, so they don't put the epidural in while you're moving. I'm going to try and get through this fast as well, because Bobby's actually currently whining in the bedroom and I don't want to leave him crying for too long. But yeah, so they had to stop several times. I had to stop them several times because every time they went to go even close to my back, I would get a contraction, and it was so painful. So I did the epidural. It kicked in, and I think I slept for about 2 hours. It was like a lifesaver. But throughout the whole process, I was cuddling one of Bub's blankets. I don't know where that blanket's gone now. And he's only 4 months old, funnily enough. I don't know where it's gone, but I do remember I was cuddling it the whole time, because all I was just thinking about was, I can get through this for him, I can get through this for him, I can get through this for him. Anyway, so I was cuddling it, and then I had about an hour and 13 minutes of pushing, which felt like, I'm not even joking, I'd only been pushing for about 5 minutes and I felt like it was like 15, 20 minutes, half an hour in. And yeah, so on Saturday the 20th of July, my little boy was born, weighing 8 pound 1, not 10 pounds. And I'll put his other things just here because I can't remember his head circumference or his height or anything like that. But yeah, it was, even though it was so painful, it was the most happiest moment of my life. I had my little boy in my arms finally. And he's currently crying, so I need to end this video. So give it a big thumbs up, like, that's what giving a thumbs up is. Comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Go check out my socials, which will be in the link below, which will be in the little bio below. Yeah, that's it. So I will see you guys next Friday with another video, and I hope you have an amazing week, and I love ya, and peace.